Coming up on 13 on your side at 10, a Yuma County judge is being asked to determine whether a man missing for more than 2 years should be legally declared dead. And how the Imperial Irrigation District plans to enhance homes, neighborhoods, and inspire energy conservation. Plus,
it's a great day to be a Matador, and Kyle exemplifies what it is to be a Matador, has been a Matador, and really lives the Matador way. And
there's a quick changing of the guard with the Arizona Western College men's basketball team, why the program is confident it will continue its winning ways despite a change at the top.
You're watching KSWT 13 on your side.
Good evening, and thank you so much for choosing to be with us tonight on 13 on your side. I'm Scott Gross. The Yuma County Sheriff's Office is appealing to the federal government to start paying its fair share for the incarceration of undocumented immigrants. YCSO released a statement today citing the high cost of housing, accused drug smugglers at the Yuma County Detention Center. Internal records show it cost more than $2 million for deputies to feed and house the 293 accused marijuana mules brought to the detention center by U.S. Border Patrol and ICE between 2015 and 2018. The Sheriff's Office says federal agents brought the suspects to the jail, but then federal prosecutors declined to prosecute their cases. That left Sheriff Leon Wilmot with only two choices: release them from custody or hold them for local prosecution. You can read the full statement on our website at kyma.com. Well, we're hearing from Representative Raul Grijalva following the President Joe Biden's first major speech to Congress as president. The congressman following the president's orders to draft up immigration reform legislation. 13 on your side's Cody Lee joins us with more.
Good evening. Last night, President Biden touched on this during his address. He's encouraging Congress to pass the reform, which Representative Grijalva agrees should happen and is happening.
I think the tone that the president said about we need to reform, and I thought the tone that he said about you have a piece of legislation that you have to deal with, and you should.
Grijalva says legislation is in the works to assist with security and humanitarian treatment, as well as making DACA protection permanent and fully expand work visas for those traveling in and out of the country. But as the representative thinks the president spoke much on this topic, Democratic Senator Mark Kelly thinks otherwise. Senator Mark Kelly says the president did not mention a plan for the immediate crisis at the border.
I don't know what the expectation was from the senators in terms of what they wanted to hear. If they wanted to hear that the president would reinforce their call to pay the $25 million that Ducey is spending to send the National Guard to the border, and they're disappointed that they didn't hear that, that's one thing. I personally don't think the federal government should pay that money.
Grijalva referencing a letter sent to the president from Arizona's two senators, asking him to refund the state the millions of dollars. The congressman hopes the Biden American Jobs Plan and relief package can assist along the border.
There has to be a concentration of investment in the borderlands to make them safer, and also to reduce the influence of those cartels. What their influence is around criminal activities, and part of how we could deal with is to put a focus on that. But we also need to involve the people whose lives, good people, whose lives are lived every day on that border.
Grijalva says both parties agree that things need to be enforced down at the border as cartels and human smugglers continue to come across. Reporting in Yuma, I'm Cody Lee for 13 on your side.
With a surge of unaccompanied children at the southern border, the U.S. Border Patrol is preparing to house migrants, most of them children, in a new tent-like facility in Tucson, Arizona. Craig Smith got a tour inside.
Border Patrol's acting chief for the Tucson sector says children crossing the border without their families is up 100% compared to last year. That's led to places like this, what Border Patrol calls a soft-sided facility, a metal frame with plastic walls, similar to structures the military uses for remote bases. The full facility can house about 500 people, but Border Patrol says it plans to keep it to 200 to 250 because of COVID concerns. There's a basic medical clinic, Before migrants arrive, Border Patrol agents will have asked them if they have symptoms of COVID, and they've looked for signs of any other illness. They will sleep in these areas, separated by age and gender, but Border Patrol can make arrangements to keep relatives together.
If we found ourselves in a position where we had a male and a female that were both siblings, we would put them in a different place. It might be a different pod in a single cell without any others in that specific cell. We also have the option of moving them to another one of our 8 stations as well.
Border Patrol says children can move about and go to a play area. Private contractors will watch over the children to free Border Patrol agents for more typical duties. Agents say the goal is to take no more than 3 days to move people from this facility to other parts of the system. Some may go to longer-term facilities, some to host families, some to deportation. Juanita Molina of Border Action Network says this facility seems better than others she's seen, and she sees it as a reflection of how migration has changed.
When I first started doing border work over 15 years ago, we saw a wide variety of people, but mostly adult males who were coming through. And the system was completely prepared for adult males, but it is not prepared for adults and with children or with children that are unaccompanied.
And while this place is meant to be temporary, Molina would not be surprised to see it operating years from now.
Being asked to determine whether a 62-year-old man who's been missing since February of 2019 is legally dead. The last time William Hardy was seen, he was driving away from his Yuma home in his pickup truck. Deputies say Hardy had dementia, and because of that, turned his disappearance into a high-risk case. There was no trace of where he could have gone, and even the activity on his bank account has gone cold.
Other than some automatic payments, pre-scheduled payments, there was no money that had gone out of that account, no debit card withdrawals.
Peck says about 50 days later, U.S. Customs and Border Protection found Hardy's truck on a rock slab in a remote area of the Sonoran Desert, less than 10 miles from his home, no more than 10 miles away from his home. Now, a doctor told Judge Gonzalez today that with Hardy's dementia and other health problems, he could not have survived more than a few days without medical attention. A final decision for William Hardy is set for tomorrow morning. And a quick look at your weather today. There's a look outside on the RV World Sky Cam, a view of downtown Yuma on 4th Avenue. Clear skies out there. Currently we're sitting at 82 degrees. Yeah, we're going to warm up though. Warm up to the triple digits. Coming up in your first alert forecast, yeah, a slow sizzle has already begun. We are really going to feel the heat here over the next few days into the weekend. Hello, sunshine. Yes, we're going to have lots of sunshine. We won't have too many clouds. Some will move in over the weekend, but then they'll quickly dissipate. And breezy to gusty conditions. Right now, we're breezy. We will see things get gusty from time to time. I'll let you know when in just a little bit. And now, as the nation continues to battle the coronavirus, there are some signs of normalcy returning. The CDC is signaling cruise lines. They can set sail soon, but public health officials are urging all Americans to get vaccinated to stop the spread. Michael George reports from New York.
Some of the youngest students in New Jersey's second largest school district finally made the long-awaited trek back to the classroom.
It's my first day of school today, and I'm happy! Yay!
After 14 months and lots of confusion, pre-K to third graders in Jersey City resumed in-person learning, but only for half days.
We have to develop some patience. I lead with the students as my North Star.
Once the epicenter of the pandemic,
on July 1st, all systems go.
New York City is aiming to fully reopen July 1st, meaning stores, restaurants, and theaters can operate at full capacity.
You've gone out, you've gotten vaccinated, you've done so much to fight through this crisis.
The CDC is also giving cruise operators the green light to sail again as early as this summer, if 98% of the crew and 95% of passengers prove they're fully vaccinated.
The CDC has been missing in action for months of telling the cruise industry how to get started. So I'm glad that finally the CDC is making some decisions.
The CDC says fully vaccinated people can now just take a rapid test at the time of departure instead of taking a lab test ahead of the trip.
If they're vaccinated and if they're all kind of taking some precautions, I would feel comfortable.
I don't know, maybe in 6 months. 6 months to a year, possibly.
On Thursday, Vice President Harris toured a mass vaccination site in Baltimore to stress the importance of getting protected.
Getting the shot is about not only taking care of ourselves, it's about loving our neighbor.
The nation is still recording around 50,000 new COVID cases every single day. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
And now a look at our COVID numbers. We have 881 new cases in Arizona, only 7 in Yuma County. There is 1 new death to report in the county, 23 in the state. As for California, 1,457 new cases, 89 new deaths. But in Imperial County, 6 new cases and no new deaths. The Yuma County Health District is offering the vaccine now every Tuesday and Thursday in May. You must schedule an appointment. Now, the vaccines are open to anyone 18 years old and older. Now, keep this in mind. The state-run clinic at the Civic Center is taking walk-ins at all times of the day. As for the rollout, now more than 137,000 people have been inoculated in Yuma County and more than 103,000 in Imperial County. And for all the latest going on in our border communities, coronavirus coverage, weather, and local news and sports, download our free KYMA app today. The Imperial Irrigation District planted its first tree out of 300 in honor of Arbor Day. IID's vice president tells us that this plan has been around for about a year. Additionally, not only did the board of directors approve this plan, but they will also be participating in it.
So each of the directors are planting a tree in their respective divisions. So here in El Centro, I'm planting this California sycamore here at the El Centro Pay Station and boardroom. Other directors are planting theirs at various at SDSU, in Calexico, also at the Raleigh Pay Station and other places.
IID says its commitment will enhance homes, neighborhoods, and inspire energy conservation.
President Biden is spending his 100th day in office, pushing 2 huge spending bills in Georgia. I'm Deborah Alfarone at the White House, where reaction to his speech is still coming in.
The family of George Floyd meets with lawmakers on Capitol Hill. I'm Steve Dorsey with how negotiations for police reform are picking up steam.
We love our cars, and we love your car. Which is why you can trust your locally owned Big O Tires. We're your friends and neighbors and know what's important to you. Now buy 3 get 1 free on select sets of tires with installation purchase. Plus, pay nothing today with easy and affordable financing options for nearly any budget. And take advantage of great deals on a conventional oil change. Big O Tires, the team you trust.
Imperial Valley Chevrolet Buick GMC Cadillac has been under new ownership for 3 years now and grown so fast that our Silverado truck is now the #1 selling truck in the Valley. Find out why more people in Imperial Valley have experienced the difference and have realized we treat you with the respect and fairness you deserve. We are outperforming many of our dealer peers in San Diego and Los Angeles with one of the fastest growing dealerships in sales and service in Southern California. Experience the difference at Imperial Valley Chevrolet Buick GMC Cadillac.
You don't have to wait to save at More Furniture for Less because we're kicking off our Memorial Day sale this weekend.
You're invited to beat the crowds in a safe environment with incredible values for every room in your home.
We have all the looks you love to get your home ready for summer, all at our lowest prices.
At More Furniture, value meets style every day. And with additional sale pricing store-wide, our prices are unbeatable.
Visit morefurniture.com to preview all Memorial Day sale specials.
Everybody has a flashlight, but can your flashlight do this? The Bell & Howell Tactical Flashlight can. The Bell & Howell Tac Light can do things no ordinary flashlight can do. Look, this civilian flashlight puts out pathetic light, but our military-grade Tac Light, that's 22 times as bright. It's so bright, it can be seen up to 2 nautical miles away. Only a Tac Light has a super bright strobe that can stun and disorient would-be attackers. A car battery will stop working in sub-zero temperatures, but even getting frozen in a block of ice couldn't make our Tac Light stop working. It's tough enough to survive getting run over by a Humvee. Try that with a regular flashlight.
you can get a Bell & Howell tack light complete with a lifetime guarantee for just $19.99, plus free shipping. And while supplies last, you can even get a second one. Just pay a separate fee.
To order, call 1-800-369-0338. That's 1-800-369-0338, or go to trytacklight.com.
You're watching KSWT 13 on your side.
And welcome back. I'm Scott Gross. President Biden hit the road to Georgia to mark 100 days in office. The trip kicks off a 10-day multi-state blitz by administration officials to sell the president's latest policy plans for infrastructure and American families. Deborah Alfarone reports from the White House.
On his 100th day in office, the president and first lady went to Georgia, where they visited former President Jimmy Carter and his wife Rosalind. President Biden then held a drive-in rally to tout his administration's accomplishments on the pandemic.
We delivered over 220 million COVID shots in the first 100 days.
He also pushed for his latest multi-trillion-dollar proposals, the American Jobs Plan for infrastructure and the American Families Plan to expand access to childcare and education.
We have a real chance to deliver real equity across the board to everyone. Black, white, Latino, Asian American. Good jobs, good schools, affordable housing, clean air, clean water.
In Baltimore, Vice President Kamala Harris marked the 100th day touring a vaccine site.
If you haven't been vaccinated yet, or if you know somebody who hasn't, please ask folks to just roll up their sleeves.
The president's trip came a day after he gave a major address to a joint session of Congress in which he promised bipartisanship and unity.
We are all united around what the president put forth last night. It was an agenda for the people.
Congressional Democrats praised the president's words while some Republicans pushed back.
I was disappointed in President Biden's speech. It's been a very radical agenda.
In 2 weeks, the president will host his first meeting with all 4 top House and Senate party leaders. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News, the White House.
Now to our topic of the day. Do you approve of President Joe Biden's job plan? 15% of you said yes, while 85% said no. The people have spoken. Thank you so much for your votes. Families of loved ones killed by police met with lawmakers on Capitol Hill today. It comes after President Biden called on Congress to pass police reform legislation by next month. Steve Dorsey has the latest from the White House.
Relatives of George Floyd and Eric Garner were among a group who met with both Republican and Democratic lawmakers on Capitol Hill Thursday to push for police reform.
This was about them understanding that this is very real to all of us, but it means more to these families than anybody else.
The visit comes as a bipartisan group of lawmakers tries to negotiate a deal.
They are driving this change, and the pain and the hurt, as well as the turning that pain into even a deeper, broader purpose. This is what's going to make the difference.
Last night, President Biden called on Congress to pass comprehensive police reform by the first anniversary of Floyd's murder next month.
We've all seen the knee of injustice on the neck of black Americans. Now's our opportunity to make some real progress.
In March, the House passed the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act, which would, among other things, ban chokeholds and some no-knock warrants and prohibit racial and religious profiling. But overhauling protections for police, which would make it easier to hold officers accountable in court, has been a sticking point for Senate Republicans. Still, Republican Senator Tim Scott is hopeful.
What do you hope to accomplish today?
Progress.
335 people in the U.S. have been killed by police so far this year, according to mappingpoliceviolence.org. The group says in recent years, 98% of police killings have not resulted in charges against the officer. Steve Dorsey, CBS News, the White House.
Get your air conditioners and fans ready to roll. We're about to hit the triple digits tomorrow. Your full forecast straight ahead in your First Alert forecast.
Everything in our garage is inspired by our racing spirit. Race in for a great deal on the redesigned Honda Accord. Only at the Honda Dream Garage Spring Event.
Singing Dale, yeah, Crispy's gone country, and I'm sure getting hungry. I want a taco with chicken that's crispy, barbecue sauce. Del Taco gets me only $1 for some barbecue with the Del Taco drive-thru. Del, yeah, it's sweet and smoky with honey and chipotle. Roll into Del Taco for a honey chipotle barbecue crispy chicken taco. Only $1, only at Del Taco. Del, yeah.
Donors Choose. Support a classroom. Build a future.
At DonorsChoose.org, we want students in every community to have the tools they need for a great education. And now, more than ever, students and teachers need your help. Every year, most public school teachers spend nearly $500 of their own money on student supplies. Let's do the math. That comes out to over $1.2 billion. We can do better. Here's how. Go to DonorsChoose.org, find a request to support, and we'll make sure they get exactly what they need. Choose from books to computers, from art supplies to robotics kits. There are microscopes, musical instruments, and so much more. You'll receive thank you letters and photos from students and teachers, and a report of how every dollar was spent. To learn more and find a teacher's request in your community, visit DonorsChoose.org.
Donors Choose. Support a classroom. Build a future.
They repress their emotions like they never talk about it, and that can be very damaging with the passing of time.
So much loss within so little time. Thousands grieving friends and family this year.
But also financial losses, and people losing homes, their vehicles, their way of life, and things like that.
The stages of grief and techniques for handling the loss of important people in your life. Grappling Grief, Wednesday at 6 p.m., only on 13 on Your Side.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Good evening. Currently, we're at 82 degrees under clear skies. Let's take a look outside, shall we, at the RV World Sky Cam. There's a view of downtown Yuma, 4th Avenue right now. People going about where they need to go, out and about, a little busier than we were a couple nights ago. Again, very clear out there, and we will remain that way into tomorrow morning, into tomorrow afternoon. Let's take a look right now at the satellite and radar, show you exactly what I'm talking about. This is what the view that we had at 7:20. Not much coming in from the East Pacific, not much down below us, if anything, on the Baja Peninsula. And as we fast forward into the day today and zero in right where we are today, clear skies throughout all of the viewing area across the desert Southwest. Here's why we're warmer right now. We've got this low pressure system here, but this high pressure system here, as it moves in tomorrow, it'll sit right on top of us, and that's what's bringing the high heat that we're going to have over the next couple of days. Fast forward this into Saturday, we're still going to be quite warm with that high pressure system. Taking a look now at what that's going to produce. Yeah, we're going to have temperatures over here above average, anywhere from 10 to 20 degrees above where we should be. Our average for this time of year is 90 degrees. We can be anywhere at 105 to 110 in certain parts of the viewing area. Here's your future wind predictor. I'll get out of the way so we can see both counties. You'll see that we'll just be light and breezy, a few gusts here and there, but for the most part it's going to be quite pleasant, but we will eye on it. Temperatures right now throughout Imperial County still in the high 70s to low 80s. Same could be said as we turn the page here to the Arizona side of things, as we're still currently in the low 80s. Yuma currently at 82 degrees. The low right now is Welton. You're sitting at 78. Now a look at the futurecast. Help you plan the rest of your night tonight. 75 degrees around midnight tonight. Clear skies when you wake up tomorrow morning. 67 and clear at 6 a.m. And then tomorrow 95 at high noon and sunny. Here's your 7-day forecast. Sunny, 100 degrees tomorrow. Breezy on Saturday. The clouds will move in. Then they'll move out on Sunday, and they'll take some of that heat with them, but lots of sunshine throughout the rest of next week. Same can be said for the valley tomorrow. 104 we're looking at. Then gusty winds on Saturdays with those clouds moving in, but lots of sunshine to go with some wind and some breeze as we get to the start of next week. But then look at Wednesday and Thursday. Those triple digits return.
We'll start the program just the way that they taught me to do it. Just continue to work hard, to communicate, to have good relationships with our guys.
Familiar face to AWC basketball fans takes over the head coaching position. How the ball bounced in his lap, just ahead in sports.
Your world is created by what you focus on. It's never too late to adjust your view. Right now at Nationwide Vision, when you buy one pair of eyeglasses, you will receive a second pair 50% off. Taking care of Arizona's eyes for 35 years. Nationwide Vision.
Hey Rita, with 3% cash back on dining, including takeout from Chase Freedom Unlimited, you're always earning.
Then this is officially a takeout week.
That's a good choice, Rita. Bon appetit. Earn 3% on dining, including takeout, and so much more. Chase, make more of what's yours.
James Brown and Bill Cowher welcoming you back to Dennis Melvin's house. It's time for the Midnight Snack Run.
This is one tricky obstacle course. Sticking to healthy in this kitchen is going to take focus and determination.
He's already entered the snack part of the course, and he's eyeballing a jar of chocolatey candy.
That is tempting right off the start.
He's reaching, Bill, but he pushes it away.
Great stiff arm.
He's approaching a plate of delicious-looking iced cookies.
Oh, Dennis, you only want one of those.
He blows right by him for the apple.
The fridge. It's make or break time, JB.
He stares down some rich-looking treats. Uh-oh, looks like he's headed for the soda. Wait, he jukes left, grabs the water bottle, and shuts the door with his elbow.
I gotta see that again.
Great move.
Now he's just gotta get out of there.
Look what dropped from the sky.
Don't do it, Dennis.
Bill, he somehow keeps moving.
That's the way you execute a midnight snack run.
Stand Up to Cancer and Rally want you to reduce your risk for cancer.
Go to takeahealthystand.org.
NPG of Yuma El Centro has an immediate opening for a technical director. We're looking for a candidate to direct newscasts, do live cut-ins, and pre-produce news segments. Applicants must have at least 2 years' experience as a director, technical director in television news production, a working knowledge of video, audio, and graphics production systems and techniques, a working knowledge of studio lighting systems, and outstanding verbal communication skills. Please go to kyme.com, click About the Jobs Internship section, and KECY job postings to apply for this position.
At Donors Choose, we want students and teachers to have the tools they need for a great education. And now, more than ever, they need your support. Learn more at donorschoose.org.
Donors Choose. Support a classroom. Build a future.
At Nationwide Vision, you can get 2 pairs of eyeglasses for just $99.99, including no-line bifocals. Call 1-800-EYECARE or visit nationwidevision.com. Taking care of Arizona's eyes for 35 years. Nationwide Vision.
And welcome back, everybody. The day after the Matador Athletics announced the resignation of longtime head coach Charles Harrell, the top assistant in the program will now be stepping into that position. Earlier today, AWC held a press conference at the House, giving the official word that veteran assistant coach Kyle Isaacs is now the new head coach. Isaacs had been an assistant under Harrell for the past 10 years and even served in a coaching capacity under another Mats coaching legend in Kelly Green. This is the first head coaching job for Isaacs, but a big positive for him and Matador Athletics is the smooth transition ahead with his previous experience within the program.
It makes it really easy because, again, there's been so much continuity here at Arizona Western College with, I believe Kelly was here for 10 or 11 years. Charles was here for 10 years. And we'll start the program just the way that they taught me to do it. Just continuing to work hard, to communicate, to have good relationships with our guys.
Isaacs will plan on evaluating the strengths of the latest recruiting class and roster as a whole before determining the style of play of his squad next season. Meanwhile, as we mentioned a few moments ago, Charles Harrell's resignation leaves huge shoes to fill for Isaacs. Under the guidance of Harrell, AWC claimed 4 Region 1 championships, an ACC-AC title, and an NJCAA national tournament appearance. The Matadors averaged 21 wins per season, and Harrell ranks 3rd all-time in AWC men's basketball coaching wins. The Matadors also made the playoffs in each season under Harrell. AWC will officially announce what's next for Harrell in the upcoming weeks. Afternoon prep baseball with the Yuma Criminals and Gila Ridge Hawks playing a doubleheader in Game 1. The Crims start as the home team because of last night's game in Yuma being postponed. Freshman Damian Cabrera starts on the hill for game number 1 for the Crims. 1 on, 1 out for the Hawks, and senior Blake Avila rips this pitch up the middle. Hawks starting a rally with 2 on board. Next batter is going to be senior Nathan Hoskins, and he knocks this pitch past the shortstop. Brandon Jaime comes all the way around from second to score, and Hawks take an early 1-0 lead. Moments later, Hawks now up 3-0, and Keaton Young hits this laser to left center. Anane Wilson scampers home to score. The Hawks up by a score of 4-0, and they would take that into the home half of the first. To the bottom of the first we go. Aiden Schmedgall on the bump for the Hawks with a nice lead already. Crims trying to answer. Senior Ian Rendon with the short chopper, and he's going to beat it out for an infield base hit. Schmedgall would keep the Crims bat silent as Gila Ridge wins Game 1 by a score of 12-0. And it was a successful day for Gila Ridge. The Hawks take Game 2 by a score of 18-2. Now, in the latest 5A rankings, Gila Ridge is currently ranked 13th in the top 16. The top 16, of course, make the state tournament. In prep softball, it's Gila Ridge again, thumping Yuma 20-0. The softball team also finds themselves ranked 13th in the latest rankings that came out earlier today. More prep baseball, Kurt Fopp and the YC baseball team playing their home finale, also with GJ Sakai getting the start. Top of the first with a runner on and one on, Sakai forces a grounder to Alan Kuhn, who turns into a 4-6-3 double play to end the top half. Shamrocks keeping the game scoreless, but that would all change in the bottom half of the inning with a runner on first. Alan Rosas drives this ball to center with Jonah Leone turning on the jets and flying over to third base, and the missed throw by the Wranglers would allow Rosas to make it to second. The Rocks would triumph in their home finale, get 9-2 win. We move on to prep softball, where Jared Lackey and Yuma Catholic play in their home finale against Wickenburg as Iolani Reeves gets the start. Bottom of the first, Shamrocks down 2. Armida Pedra gets the base hit up the middle with 2 outs, trying to get something started for the Rocks, but it would all be for naught as Faith Harden strikes out, which puts the first inning on ice. YC's offense would struggle most of the afternoon. The top Wranglers hitters, they're going to bunt the ball down third base. Marley Hewitt, though, will toss it over to first in time for the out. Hewitt made some key defensive plays early in this one, but the Rocks would fall way short in the end, taking a 16-3 loss in 5 innings. That's all we have for sports. And coming up, a new report lists 2 cities in the desert Southwest as being among the safest in the country. Find out if you live in one of them straight ahead.
Introducing the largest Toyota dealership in Imperial Valley, United Toyota. Conveniently located on Highway 86 between Imperial and El Centro, United Toyota has hundreds of new and pre-owned vehicles for every budget. Right now, lease a 2021 Corolla for just $87 a month, or lease a 2021 Camry for $142 a month. Plus, have peace of mind everywhere you go with Toyota Care, a no-cost maintenance plan and roadside assistance that comes with new Toyotas. Come by and say hi, or shop us online at UnitedToyotaImperial.com.
Dear road rivals, gotta say, I'm impressed by how hard you've been trying to kick quality up a notch. Maybe one day you too will be named best-selling small SUV in America. A for effort. Yours, RAV4.
Right now, get $1,250 cash back on a new 2021 RAV4. Or lease RAV4 for just $219 per month. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Millions of customers are leaving their providers and switching to Spectrum. And if you have satellite, it's not hard to see why. Because unlike satellite, Spectrum gives you all the services you need, like internet and TV from one provider. They do? Yeah, they do. And Spectrum has the fastest download speeds with the most reliable performance. Get Spectrum Internet with speeds at 100 megabits for $44.99 a month. Call 833-909-4499. Spectrum wins on TV, too. Unlike satellite, Spectrum doesn't have an ugly dish to install. And you get exclusive premium original content with Spectrum Originals. Wow, really? Really. Plus, Spectrum has more free HD and free on demand. Get Spectrum TV from $44.99 a month. Call 833-909-4499. And unlike satellite providers, Spectrum doesn't have contracts or early termination fees. We'll even buy out your current contract up to $500. Switch to America's fastest growing internet, TV, and voice provider. Get Spectrum Internet and TV from $44.99 a month each. Ask about our easy self-install options. Call 833-909-4499.
You don't have to wait to save at More Furniture for Less because we're kicking off our Memorial Day sale this weekend.
You're invited to beat the crowds in a safe environment with incredible values for every room in your home.
We have all the looks you love to get your home ready for summer, all at our lowest prices.
At More Furniture, value meets style every day. And with additional sale pricing store-wide, our prices are unbeatable.
Visit morefurniture.com to preview all Memorial Day sale specials.
Before we go tonight, a new report lists 2 cities in the desert Southwest as being among the safest in the country. Now, that would be San Luis ranked 4th safest in the state, followed by Somerton coming in 7th. The number 1 city in the state of Arizona is Florence. I wonder if you live in one of those 3. Hey, thank you so much for choosing to be with us tonight. Have a safe night. I'll see you right back here tomorrow night. Stay tuned. Stephen Colbert is next.